Do not buy this guitar amp. It destroys the sound of your guitar. Do not buy it. 1 star. So I bought it. I've gathered some of the lowest rated guitar amps on the entire internet, and today I'm gonna play them. And at the end of this video, I'm driving 3.5 hours to find the lowest rated guitar amp in the entire world and play it. First, let's start with the lowest rated guitar amp from Walmart. After scrolling for 143 pages, which took a long time, we came across this. The lowest rated guitar amp on Walmart. It was only $25. Anyone who plays guitar knows if you get an amplifier for $25, yeah, that's not an amplifier. This is gonna be interesting. Let's read the reviews. Aman said, when I bought this amp, I knew it would be small, but don't be mistaken. It's too small. It's like a toy amp for a baby. Sound quality is terrible too. Input jacks feel like toys. I could go on, but I wouldn't want to ruin your day. 1 star. Okay, I think it's safe to say that this amp is not gonna be good. David said the input jack is shorted out and the amp doesn't work. I want a refund or replacement. Guys, I swear that wasn't me. That was another guy named David. Trust me, I wouldn't spell the word input wrong. And lastly, Darren said, I hate this amp. I tried to play it, but it couldn't even cook. I hate guitar. No, this amp. I mean, I'm sorry. Have a good night. 1 star? What? So you know what this means. We have to put these 1-star reviews to the test. We have to see if Aman is right and if the sound quality on this amp is terrible. And is David right? Does the amp and the input jacks even work? Okay, so the first test I'm gonna do, you know how you have to plug into an amp and then turn it on so it doesn't make that screeching sound? Yeah, screw that. We're gonna see how bad the screeching sound is on this $25 amp. All right, without further ado, let's do it. There was no screeching sound when I plugged it in. That's actually pretty good. All right, so moment of truth, let's test it out. Oh my gosh. Okay, right off the bat, David, not me, but the David who left the review, when he said that the input jacks didn't work, well, that's just not true because I plugged it in and it made a sound. The sound wasn't good, but the input jacks do work. But even though it works, it's not good. So I'm just gonna, just like, oh my gosh, that's a power chord. Look how that sounds. And this amp has an OD setting. I'm assuming that's overdrive. Let's see if that does it. Did you hear that clipping? What does that do? Yeah, now we got distortion. Oh shoot. This is the $25 amp with distortion. Yo. Yo, that does not sound that bad. Obviously, it's a $25 amp. It sounds terrible, but it didn't sound as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, that does not sound that bad. Oh no, that was a lot of clipping. But yeah, this overdrive knob is really fun to play actually. Okay, let's put it to clean. Oh, that was a really big clip. Let's put it to clean guitar and let's see what we could get with just a clean tone. Yeah, honestly, yeah, it sounds terrible. But wait, we have to do this song. So yeah, guys, Aman and David were right. When they said this amp is terrible and the sound quality is bad, it's terrible and the sound quality is bad. Now there's only one thing left to do. I never heard an amp that makes Wonderwall sound even worse. I give this amp 2 stars. Let's move on to the next amplifier. Have you ever wondered what one of the most lowest rated guitar amps on Guitar Center looks like? Well, don't worry because I bought it just to show you. After scrolling for 372 long pages of my life, we came across this. The smallest orange amp that I could find. Let's read the reviews. Kate said, it's not good. Mine doesn't even turn on. I read the instructions, nothing works at all. I have nothing else to say, just don't buy it. 1 star. Well, I'm sorry, Kate, you said that a little too late because I already bought it. Alan said, look, it's got some upsides. Built-in tuner, portability, looks cool, headphone jack, but just spend the extra money and get something that doesn't sound like a my first amp. 1 star. Yeah, what I think Alan is trying to say is that this amp sounds terrible. And lastly, Dean said, I bought this as a way to practice and not annoy my family, but it needs a lot of work. The knobs only work when turned halfway up. The crunch on it is too much for a little speaker. It scares the pets. Auto tuner is way too sensitive. It was a Christmas gift, so I don't plan on returning it. Save your money, get a headphone amp, enjoy your playing. 1 star. We have to put these 1-star reviews to the test. We have to see if Kate was right if the amp doesn't even turn on, and when Dean said the knobs on the amp only work when they're halfway turned up, the distortion being too much for a little speaker, and if it scares the pets. And yes, I have a dog, so we could act. Oh my gosh. I don't think she likes the amp. Guys, yes, I have a pet and we're gonna see if it scares her. Luna, go back to sleeping. She's barking at something through the window. All right, so apparently this amp has no power on switch, and it says in order for you to turn on the amp, you plug it into your guitar and it automatically turns on. I've never seen an amp like that, but let's see if it's true. So I'm plugging it in. Wow, it actually turned on. That's actually kind of crazy, but cool, but weird. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna test out is when Dean said that the amp only works when the knobs are halfway turned up. So we're gonna put them like on 1 or 2, and let's see if they work. Okay, so I just turned the volume knob on 1, and this is it. No sound. I turn it on 2, barely any sound. But then I turn it halfway up, and then you hear a sound. So I can't believe it, but Dean was right. These knobs only kind of work when you turn them up at least halfway. All right, we're gonna turn all the knobs halfway up, and let's just see how it sounds. That kind of, I mean, no, that sounds good, but the amp did turn on. So when Kate said that it didn't turn on, she was lying, mine turned on, or she got a bad one that didn't turn on. Now let's see if the distortion is way too much for a little speaker like this one. So we're gonna turn up the distortion all the way. Oh my, that almost gave me a heart attack. This is it all the way turned on. Okay, I put the volume very low. Nah, that is crazy distortion for a little amp. So I agree, the distortion is way too much for a little speaker, but it sounds great. I'm being honest when I say this amp might have the best sounding distortion I've ever heard from any amp in my life. Let's see how Wonderwall sounds with distortion. But yeah, I give this amp 4 stars. The distortion really carries the amp and it sounds great. But the main question is, did the amp scare my pet dog? Sadly, the answer is yes, because she was sleeping right here when I started and she is not there anymore. So yeah, this amp scares pets. But this amp is nothing compared to the ends of the video where we drive 3.5 hours to find and play the lowest rated guitar amplifier in the entire world. Stick around. No wasting time. Here's the next amp. It's a pink amp from Walmart. Let's read the reviews. James said, it's not worth the price, and it's not even 20 watts. It's 14.5 watts, and it is definitely not worth $10 less than what I paid for. Definitely not even a practice amp. 1 star. Yeah, guys, at this point, honestly, I already know what each review is gonna say. They either complain about the price or the sound. Lastly, Samir said, this amp is not good at all. When you turn the gain up all the way, the amp can't handle the distortion, so it starts to clip. The volume, treble, bass, and middle controls don't even control anything. And sometimes the amp doesn't even turn on. Stay away. 1 star. You know what? I'm gonna stay away from all these amps because they all seem to be terrible. So we have to see if the control knobs don't even control anything. And if you turn the distortion up all the way, does it start to clip? And if the amp doesn't even turn on sometimes. All right, first thing we have to test is, does the amp even turn on? I'm pretty sure it will, but let's see if it doesn't. All right, I'm gonna turn it on right now. Hey, there's a green light right here. That means it's on. But now for the feedback test. We're gonna keep the amp on, plug it in, and see if there's any noise. Let's see if there's any noise. No noise. That's really good. All right, next thing we have to see is if you turn up the gain, does it start to clip? So I'm turning up the gain right now. Let's turn it up to like 7, and let's play a power chord. Oh my gosh, that hurt my ear. Hold on, wait. All right, we're gonna turn the volume lower and put the gain more up, and we're gonna put a G power chord. I mean, yeah, there's gain, but guys, this sounds so bad. What the heck? Okay, I put the gain all the way up, and I'm gonna put the volume a little low, and let's see if there's any gain. Guys, look, I have the gain all the way up to 10, and it sounds like there's nothing. There's no distortion, there's no overdrive. That is a bad gain knob. All right, next thing we have to see is, do the control knobs even control anything? Okay, now I'm gonna mess with the bass knob and see if it does control anything. So here it is on 0, and here it is on 10. I don't hear a difference at all. What? This is 0 bass, and this is 10 bass. Guys, you have to be with me on this one. I hear no difference. Okay, let's try the treble now. Okay, this is 0 treble, and this is 10 treble. Oh, hold on. I hear the slightest bit of difference. Hold on, wait. 0 treble, 10 treble. Okay, I do hear a difference, but it's literally like this amount of difference. It's just a little less dull, but literally if you put the treble on 0 and then put it up just to like 5, There's no difference at all. Okay, I'm gonna put the treble and the bass all the way to 0 and see if there's any difference. This is the bass and treble on 0, and this is the bass and treble on 10. I hear literally this amount of difference. Samir was right when he said that the control knobs don't even control anything. And even besides the control knobs and the settings, this amp sounds so bad. This amp, without a doubt, has been the worst sounding amp in the entire video so far. Even the $25 Walmart tiny amp sounded better than this one. I give this amp 1 star. It sounded terrible. The control knob don't even control anything. At this point, there's only one thing left to do. Now we only have 1 amp left before we drive 3.5 hours to find and play the lowest rated guitar amp in the entire world. Stay till the end. This is a battery powered combo amp. It cost me $150, damn! And apparently you could connect the amplifier to your phone. Let's read the reviews. A said, too much hissing white noise, very noise. 1 star. Wow, I'm interested to see if this amp is very noise. Dennis said, I just spent over $140 on their software that doesn't work. I got so frustrated trying to make it work that I didn't even try playing it. Do not waste your money on multimedia software or anything from this brand. 1 star. Well, it's a bummer because I already bought the amp. Lastly, the guy from the first review, A, also wrote another review and said, if I am recording, hissing white noise comes out. I will try to record tomorrow in my MPC live at computer. I will let you know. Well, spoiler alert, A wrote that review 5 years ago and he never let us know. So we have to test if there's too much hissing and white noise coming from the amp and if the software is actually $140. If it is, I'm not buying it. I already spent like $150 on this amp. All right, does the amp even turn on? And I think it did. There's like a green light. I think it's on. Oh, do you hear that already? I hear hissing white noise. Okay, I turned up all the knobs and listen to this. I'm putting it right next to the mic. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's really an audible hissing white noise. So A was right. All right, last feedback test. Let's see if it makes any noise when I plug it in. No noise. Damn, all of these cheap amps don't make any feedback noise, but like my freaking $700 orange amp makes noise when you plug it in. All right, so we kind of just have to do a sound test. 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that sounds good. This amp sounds really good, guys. This amp sounds really good. Honestly, guys, I think I might keep this amp. I don't think I'm gonna return it. This is by far the best amp I've tested this entire video. I have no complaints, but the last thing, we have to see if the software is $140. All right, guys, I'm downloading the app right now and the app is free. That's a good sign, but I guarantee as soon as I log in, it's gonna charge me with a subscription because that's how life is nowadays. Everything is a freaking damn subscription. It's crazy. All right, guys, I have the app right here. It's loading. Oh my gosh, guys, look at that. Look at the screen right there. $45 for a lifetime subscription. So it's not $140 like Dennis said, but it still is probably $50 for a lifetime subscription. But yeah, I give this amp 5 stars. It's great. It's portable. It sounds great. It has different things. It's a great amp. Right now, we have to drive 3.5 hours to find and play the lowest rated guitar amp in the entire world. Oh my gosh. The lowest rated guitar amp in the world. I scrolled through 536 pages on Guitar Center to find a total of 12,583 amps. And I eventually found the lowest rated guitar amp on the entire website. So I checked its availability and turns out it was available to play in a store. The store is located in Somerville Circle, New Jersey. I'm in New York City and Somerville, New Jersey is over 3 hours away from me. So I was about to start the car ride. Until I checked the amp's availability online in the store and turns out it wasn't available anymore. Someone in the store must have bought it. Well, they just bought a 1-star amp, so good luck to them. Then I refreshed the page and turns out it's available in another store. And they have one and only one in Long Island, New York. So I better start driving right now quickly before someone buys it just like the last amp. See you there. So we made it to the only Guitar Center in the entire world that has the lowest rated amplifier. Without further ado, for the last time this video, let's read the reviews. Pete said, cheap. Cheap wood, cheap speakers, sounds muddy and not focused. Just spend the extra money and get something better with wood. This is a cheap cab for beginners with no money to spend. I do not recommend this cabinet at all. Horrible cab, 1 star. If what this guy's saying is true, that all the materials are cheap, that's crazy because this amp costs $580. Peter says, I would never recommend this to anyone. Cheap speakers and the wood is made from cheap particle board wood. Bottom end sounds awful. Not a cabinet for playing heavy metal. Only 1 input jack, fake leather, horrible cabinet. Save your money and buy something made from real birch wood and leather. 1 star. The fact that both of these guys are complaining about the exact same thing and they both have the exact same name and they're both from Michigan, I don't know what to think about that. So for the last time, we have to see if this amp is made from cheap materials like cheap wood and speakers, if it sounds awful, if it only has 1 input jack, and if it has fake leather. But there's only one thing left to do before we go into Guitar Center to play the lowest rated amplifier in the world, and that's for you to subscribe to see more crazy videos like this one. All right, let's go into the store. Guys, before I play the lowest rated amp, I have to do one thing. Guys, I found the amp. Alright, so the first thing we have to see is if the amp is made of cheap stuff like cheap wood and cheap speakers. Alright, so I'm feeling the amp right now and it feels pretty sturdy, so I don't know what Pete was talking about. I'm knocking on it right now, I'm feeling the speakers. The mesh is okay, but the wood just feels all natural and it feels really expensive. Obviously, you guys can't feel the amp through the screen, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it, I swear. Guys, Pete also lied when he said there was only 1 input jack. There's actually 2 input jacks. I'm gonna show you right now. They're really hidden. So this is the amp, it's in the back of the amp, and just look, there's 2 input jacks right there, not 1 but 2. And when Pete said the leather on the amp is fake, I don't know how to tell fake leather apart, so I don't know, I'll just take his word for it. All right, let's plug it in and let's see if it sounds horrible. Okay, I'm gonna pick the most expensive guitar I could find and play it. This one is almost $5,000. Yeah, seems good enough. All right, let's do a feedback test. The amp is on. Okay, there was a little bit of noise, but not so much. Now let's test out the sound. Whoa. This amp sounds amazing. But there's one final test to see if this amp is 5 stars or not. First test. Last test. Yeah, guys, I give this amp 5 stars. All right, I came here into Guitar Center, stayed here maybe a total of 10 minutes, and I'm gonna go home right now. Well, that was fun. Anyways, thanks for watching. Click this video to watch me play a guitar worth $100,000. Subscribe and express your universe.